bottle of barbecue sauce sitting in your fridge right now has almost the exact same shelf life as a bottle you could make in 5 minutes for 30 cents. That's not a typo. 30 cents. Today I'm going to show you how to make a barbecue sauce from 4 pantry staples that outlasts, outperforms, and outtastes anything on the condiment aisle. And I'll give you the exact ratios for 3 regional styles, so you're not stuck with one flavor for the rest of your life. A $6 bottle of the popular stuff works out to almost $1 every time you brush it on a rack of ribs. This version costs about 30 cents a batch, and it keeps for months without a single preservative doing the work. Stick around, because around the 4-minute mark I'm going to show you the one ingredient swap that turns this into a sauce that actually gets better with age. Most people throw it out right when it's hitting its peak. In full disclosure, I've been making my own barbecue sauce for close to a year now. Haven't bought a bottle since, not because I'm militant about it, mostly because homemade is just better, and once you taste the difference, you get a little annoying about it at cookouts. Let's talk about what's actually in that bottle first, because this is where it gets interesting. The base of almost every commercial barbecue sauce is high fructose corn syrup, and there's a persistent myth that this is just sugar in another form, basically interchangeable. It's not, chemically. High fructose corn syrup is processed to break the sugar bonds ahead of time, which means it hits your bloodstream faster and browns differently under heat. That's actually why store sauces scorch so easily on a grill. The sugar is already primed to caramelize the second it touches flame. Homemade sauce made with real sugar or molasses caramelizes slower and more evenly, which is half the reason restaurant barbecue tastes different than backyard barbecue with bottled sauce. Second myth, thick sauce means more tomato. Look at the ingredient list on most bottles and you'll find xanthan gum or modified cornstarch sitting a few lines down. And that's a stabilizer, not flavor. It's there so the sauce doesn't separate on a shelf for 18 months. You don't need it. Real tomato paste and a slow simmer thickens a sauce naturally, no gum required. And it tastes like tomato instead of like a science project. Third myth, and this one surprises people, vinegar-based sauce isn't real barbecue sauce. Depending on where you grew up, you might have only ever had the thick, sweet, ketchup-forward style. But the vinegar is doing real work, not just flavor. Vinegar's acidity is what gives barbecue sauce its long shelf life in the first place. A properly acidic sauce under a pH of 4.6 is inhospitable to almost every bacteria that would spoil it. That's the actual mechanism keeping your homemade batch safe in the fridge for months. It's not magic, it's basic food chemistry, and it means you can adjust vinegar levels to control both tang and shelf life at the same time. Here's the base recipe, and I'll give you the ratio checkpoints, because this is where people usually mess it up. Start with 1 cup of tomato paste, not ketchup, paste. It makes a difference. Add a 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. That's your preservation backbone, don't skimp on it. Then a 1/3 cup of brown sugar, or 2 tablespoons of molasses if you want a deeper, smokier sweetness. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce for the umami hit. A teaspoon each of smoked paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and a pinch of cayenne if you want heat. Combine everything in a saucepan over medium heat, whisk until smooth, then drop it to a simmer for 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. That's it. That's the whole mechanism. 15 minutes of low heat lets the flavors marry and thickens the sauce through natural reduction, no starch needed. Now, if you're still with me, quick thing, because a few of you have asked in the comments whether it's worth subscribing for more of this kind of breakdown. It genuinely helps the channel when you do, cost you nothing. And if you want the deeper dives, full cost breakdowns, extended pantry chemistry, stuff I don't put in the regular uploads, that's what the channel membership is for. Okay, back to the sauce. Here's where the ratios shift depending on style, and this is the part that usually gets skipped in other recipes. For a Kansas City style, thick, sweet, the one most people default to, use the base recipe exactly as written. For a Carolina vinegar style, flip the ratio. 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. Drop the tomato paste to 2 tablespoons just for color. Add a tablespoon of yellow mustard and a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. It's thin, it's sharp, and it cuts through fatty pulled pork in a way thick sauce can't. For an Alabama white sauce, skip tomato paste entirely. 1 cup of mayonnaise, a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of horseradish. No cooking required on that one, just whisk it cold. 3 completely different sauces, same 5-minute effort. Now let's do the actual math on cost, because this is where it gets a little ridiculous. Tomato paste, a small can, runs about $1 and gets you most of what you need for 2 batches. Vinegar, sugar, spices, you likely already own all of it, and if you don't, a full spice restock costs less than 2 bottles of name brand sauce and lasts a year. Per batch, you're looking at roughly 30 cents, maybe less if you're using pantry staples you've already got open. A $6 bottle of the popular stuff gets you about 12 applications before it's empty. Call it 50 cents a use. Over a summer of grilling, say 20 uses, that's $10 on bottled sauce versus roughly 60 cents in homemade batches. It's not a small gap, it's a rounding error versus a real expense. Now here's the mind-blowing part I promised. The age thing. Unlike a lot of homemade condiments, this sauce doesn't just survive time, it improves with it. Give it 48 hours in the fridge before you use it, and the vinegar has time to fully integrate with the sugars and spices, mellowing the sharp acidity into something rounder. Most people make a batch and use it immediately, which means they're eating it at its harshest point, not its best point. Let it sit. It's one of the only condiments where patience is a free upgrade. One more hidden mechanism worth knowing: never brush barbecue sauce on meat early in the cook if it's sugar heavy. That caramelization reaction I mentioned earlier kicks in fast, and sugar burns well before meat finishes cooking through. Professional pitmasters glaze in the last 10 to 15 minutes for exactly this reason. Do it any earlier, and you're not getting flavor, you're getting char. That's the whole system. One base, 3 regional variations, a shelf life measured in months instead of days, and a cost that makes the name brand stuff look like it's overcharging you on purpose, which, chemically speaking, it kind of is. Take care of yourselves, give this a shot on your next cookout, and I'll see you in the next one.